This is AJ Update. On this edition of AJ Update, we'll get you updated on the recent changes in the downtown area and how those changes help the city's SWAT team improve their skills. We'll get you up to speed on the Silly Mountain Restoration Project. We'll also give you an overview of some new and updated features on the city's website. The opportunity now exists for you to apply for city employment completely online. Let's do a quick review of getting an account and signing in. Clicking on the homepage link takes you to the employment page where you can learn a little more about the new application process. Click the link here to go to current job openings. This is where you can browse through the jobs list and begin the application process. Or, if you do not see anything that interests you at this time, click on the Notify Me link to get notified of new job openings. No matter which option you choose, you are required to have a legitimate email and a user account. As you begin the application process, here are some things to remember. If you don't have a computer, you can use a computer for free at the AJ Library. You can save your progress as you fill out the application. You can upload your resume in various formats, including PDF and Microsoft Word documents. Once you fill out the application, you will not have to re-enter any information unless the job has specific information requirements. Applications must be filled out entirely, regardless of what's on your resume. If you need help at any time, you can contact by phone or email our Human Resources Department. Recently, members of the Apache Junction City Council and some city staff gathered to partake in a little bit of creative destruction and to usher in a new project phase in downtown Apache Junction. Principal Economic Development Specialist Janine Solly gives us a little background.
Okay, so when you talk about acquiring some space for public use in the downtown, that has been a recent development, but I would argue that the discussion about downtown space and the desire for it started many, many years ago. If you look at any of the city's planning documents, any of the visionary work that has kind of taken place, you'll see in most all of those documents some reference to the community's desire to have some public space in the downtown area. So I would argue it's been a discussion that's been happening for about 30 years or so. In 2010, September, the City Council unanimously approved the Downtown Redevelopment and Implementation Strategy. That really talked about the importance of having some public space and creating a sense of place and a heart of the downtown. We really launched, though, in October of 2014 when we actually put out a bid requesting some bid proposals from the community, from landowners in the downtown area who were interested maybe in swapping some land with us. And of course, that's kind of what really got us to the point that we're at today.
Council members were invited to take a whack at the abandoned fourplex, formerly known as the Superstition Apartments.
We want to see these buildings torn down. It's an ugly sight for the community, and we want to see it cleaned off. I've already talked to some people across the street, and they're happy as heck to see it gone.
After a quick tutorial on the controls, Mayor Salako, Vice Mayor Barker, Councilmember Waldron, and Councilmember Evans each took a turn. Though the demolition of the fourplex marks the end of almost 18 months of work, it is just one more step in developing a vibrant, exciting downtown. Before saying goodbye to the Superstition Apartments, they were needed for one more service to the community. About a week prior to the wrecking ball, the AJPD SWAT team used the abandoned fourplex for some specialized training.
We had just different various scenarios that we did, and basically doing entries into each individual apartment, utilizing our team members.
The SWAT team ran some breach and enter and hostage rescue scenarios that included the use of small and specialized explosives.
Yeah, and I told him because of
what we're going to do is we're going to breach an interior wall. The room that you are in is a bad guy who's holding a hostage. Because of the enclosed room, we can't use a high charge. The concussion can do damage to your hearing, to your internal organs. So what we're going to do is we're going to breach this hollow core wall here. It's just 2 sheets of plywood, maybe some insulation. Studs are going to be on 24-inch center. The charge that we're going to use, we actually use IV bags full of water. Water is not compressible, so it gives us a good push that's going to go through. There's a situation where the hostage needs to be rescued immediately. The officers can't force the door, so they're going to breach the wall.
Is that essentially we use different types of charges depending on what structure or what material we're trying to defeat. That's where formulas come in, and it all comes into safety, because essentially our goal is to breach that material and be able to open up that portion so we can obviously have visual and then be able to make entry at some point.
It is not often that the SWAT team can use live explosives in training, so the opportunity to do so was important. Just a little east and along Old West Highway is Silly Mountain. Not long ago, this area was a major focus for the City of Apache Junction and the Superstition Area Land Trust. Why, you may ask? For the simple reason that they wanted to see this start to become this.
I'm Cindy Rule, and I'm the Executive Director of the Superstition Area Land Trust, also known as SALT, and also the Restoration Manager for Silly Mountain for SALT and for the City of Apache Junction. I've been a resident for 22 years, but I've lived in the valley for about 40 years. So the scar was made originally from an antenna that was placed on the top. And so there had to be some kind of a roadway to get up for maintenance of that antenna. And that led to, it was completely open. It was owned by the Bureau of Land Management, this piece of land. And it led to other people coming up in their off-road vehicles. Well, in about 2006, maybe the beginning of 2007, the Superstition Area Land Trust came to the City of Apache Junction and had this idea of partnering to make Silly Mountain, to help make Silly Mountain into a walking trail place and restoration of that ugly scar. There had been for a number of years, the community, as the community was growing, it had been for a number of years, community kind of outcry of they were sick of seeing that scar. It was so ugly and so degrading and not a very welcoming place for Apache Junction or for Gold Canyon. For the restoration site, the main challenge was the compaction of the soil. And with no vegetation on that compacted soil, and also the erosion of the soil, so in a lot of places down to bedrock. So in order for anything to be able to be restored, to come back vegetation and then the animals that follow, I had to fix that hydrology. I had to fix the erosion problem so we could slow down the rains as they sheeted across the soil, and also to till or dig the soil to decompact it. So that was my two main approaches, was to rip the soil and then to build water bars across the site horizontally to slow the velocity down. Then the mountain took over from there because the rest of the mountain was healthy. It had a good seed bed, and it just pretty much seeded itself. We did some hydro seeding, but for the most part, it seeded itself with these native plants. Restoring desert lands is very often, especially from off-road vehicle travel, is incredibly hard and sometimes not even possible to bring that back. The desert is a very fragile ecosystem. The soils are thin, they're not very fertile. My expectation as a desert restoration ecologist was that I would not really see much of a change, much of an improvement for about 20 years. Here we are 7 years later, 7 and a few months later, and the improvement here, the restoration that has happened here is 15, 20 years beyond what experts would have projected.
The Silly Mountain Restoration Project is ongoing. Ultimately, it will take years to complete. The community seems committed to doing its part by adopting this one simple rule: stay on the designated trails.